First of all, your initial reaction and thoughts on what's happened today in Pennsylvania.
Sure. Look, I mean, like everyone, it's a horrifying thing to watch unfold from the United States. But the thing that's been really astounding to me is hearing so many comments about political violence not having a place in America when, this was a nation essentially founded on political violence. So as horrifying as this is, unfortunately, it's not at all surprising.
And we're seeing, you're right, this is coming from presidents, from politicians across the divide. Then we're also seeing the counter on social media of people taking aim and saying, apportioning blame to Joe Biden or to the Democrats for the language. This has become a very toxic, more broadly, political debate, hasn't it?
It has. I think it's incredibly dangerous, Dan, to see the conspiracies unfolding in real time on social media, given just how volatile American politics is at the moment. Political violence has been kind of simmering underneath everything for several years now in a really kind of frightening way. And so the potential, I think, for this situation to escalate, for political violence to be further normalised, is really deeply concerning. There are, of course, efforts by very high-profile people, including the president, to tamp this down and to ensure that it doesn't get out of control. But we can already see, elements, particularly in Trump land, seeking to weaponise this in what is really quite a dangerous way, I think.
We are seeing on social media that image of Donald Trump just after this, where he's got blood on the side of his face and he's pumping his fist in the air, which he did shortly after while the security agents were around him. How might this alter the campaign moving forward? Having that sort of an image spread around, how might it frame the election campaign?
I think we can see that happening in real time, with, again, high-profile figures on the right posting the image all over social media. And it does just show what a master of political visuals Donald Trump is, that even in this situation, that was his instinct. I think it's too early to say how this will affect the campaign. There's a lot we don't know. There's a lot to unfold. But certainly there is already, we can see, an effort to use this image to really frame Donald Trump, to make it central to his campaign. And I think there's real potential for that to be successful, especially given, the Republican National Convention is next week. It's due to start on Tuesday, I think, at Australian time. And so it will be really important to watch how this is picked up by the campaign and how it's used. But I would also say, today just shows things can change in an instant. So I don't think we should get ahead of ourselves in predicting, what this will mean.
Yeah, I wonder, Dr. Shorters, what you think is the impact of the polarisation of the media, echo chambers and the like, not to mention misinformation and disinformation, all of which have been traits of contemporary US politics, not just there, of course, around the world as well.
Look, I mean, I'd also say not just contemporary US politics. Yeah. Conspiracy is a thread that's run through American history for really since the foundation of the United States. Look, I think this is an extraordinary event that will mark this really what is already an extraordinary campaign. But again, we have to be so careful about getting ahead of ourselves, but also I think contextualizing it in American history. We talk a lot about the polarization of the United States, but that kind of implies there's a kind of equal level of extremism between left and right. That's certainly the narrative that Trump and his campaign and kind of Trump land more broadly are deploying about, the extreme left. But the reality is that extremism in the United States is the kind of the domain really of the right. The right of America and the Republican Party in particular has shifted really to the far right. Donald Trump didn't create that. He's kind of facilitated and capitalized on it. But I think we need to be careful about the way we speak about division, because divisions aren't equal. And we know, for example, that the vast majority of Americans are in favour of gun control, for example. There isn't actually polarisation on that issue. It's just that there are very loud voices, very powerful voices who are interested in fostering those divisions. So I think we need to kind of take a step back when we talk about polarisation and division and recognise that what's actually not functioning in the United States is the institutions of American democracy. You know, it's not a case of equal division or a country being kind of equally pitted against itself. The vast majority of Americans abhor this kind of violence and want gun control, and I think that's really important to remember.
And Dr. Emma Shorter, Senior Researcher at the Australia Institute, thank you very much for your company this morning.